What is up, guys? EZ9 here, and welcome to the mid lane role. Now, the mid lane is a role that is probably one of the more important roles because of what you have to do. Now, you can see on both sides there's a mid lane. The lane that kind of splits off at like an angle here. You can see it kind of it's swervy. It's a very swervy mid lane. It comes into a river in the middle. Now, the thing about the mid lane is that because it's the most important role, you need to make sure you keep up with it. So, basically in the mid lane, or any lane for that matter, you want to be last hitting the minions to get your XP. So you can see the little dots coming back at my character. That is your EXP. That is what's going to give you your card points. That's what's going to get you more power, more ability, more builds, all that stuff. So if you don't last hit, you're not going to be... basically, if you don't last hit, your enemy is going to be ahead of you all game. So make sure you last hit and stay about right where your enemy is. Whoever levels up first usually is the one to take down the other. Or at least to attempt to take down the other. Now, that's not to say that if you don't last hit, you won't win. I mean, you just got to make sure you get those last hits. I mean, come around mid-game or so, you'll start being able to just, 2-hit, 3-hit the minions because, you have, way more damage with the cards you have, but for the most part, that's pretty much it. Now, if you come over here, you can see that this connects right over to the solo lane, right? So here's the solo lane. This is where you want to be going for ganks a lot of times once you have your lane pushed. So your job as middle lane is to push up the lane and then head over to left lane, try to gank if you can. Now, don't push up the lane and then leave, go left right away if the enemy's still there. Make sure you get the enemy to back, or they back or something. Get it pushed up, then move and rotate. Now, right here is where the buff will normally spawn. It'll be here probably very shortly, so just give it a few. But as you can see, we're just poking at each other, just poking. We're not attacking each other so much, but we can do an occasional poke with the meteor down from Gideon, and it makes for a pretty good way to get people out of lane is to just poke them. Now here it is. Now here's the buffs I was talking about. So on both sides of the river there are two buffs, or one buff on each side of the river. So one is purple here, right? So one is purple. Purple is the invisibility. It cannot be seen by wards, and it cannot be seen by players. Meaning if you are in this shadow plane, you cannot be seen, period. So if you want to go up to someone and gank them, you can. But as soon as you attack or place a ward, it goes off. Over here we have the black buff. The black buff is dot damage, meaning basic attack. So do, like, basic attacks. Your basic ability, your basic just throwing your weapon, your basic throw, or your basic, like Gideon right now is, throwing energy towards people. Your basic attack, that is going to boost that damage. The red buff is going to be a ability damage, meaning your ability. So like the meteor coming down, his black hole, anything like that will do plenty more damage with that red buff. Your job as mid laner is to make sure you control these buffs. So usually you go to lane with like 2 cast tokens and a mana pot is usually what you go to lane with. Some people like to run a health pot, depends on what you want, or a cast token, mana pot, and health pot, and you're pretty much set. But it'll be harder to last it like that. And then when you back the first time, you're gonna want to grab a ward and ward up both sides of the lane where those buffs are, making sure no one takes those. Those are your buffs. You want to control that thing. You can have more than one buff at one time, so control those buffs, guys. Control those buffs. Very important. And like I said, once you push up, you can, gank other lanes. That's your job. Now, if you take the first tower or your first tower gets destroyed, this is where mid lane becomes absolutely cancer for your team or the enemy team. If that first tower gets destroyed, this is your job. Do not let that tower fall at all costs. If it falls, it falls, but I mean, do not let it fall early at all. Because if it falls early, the enemy mid laner will be roaming left and right constantly. And it's very hard to deal with, and it's very hard to farm as a team when that stuff happens. So you want to make sure you take their tower mid lane first and keep that mid lane pushed up at all times. That is your job, that is your role in this entire game. You are also one of the stronger damage dealers with your, magical powers, I should say. That's what it used to be. It used to be energy damage, per se. And you need to be, you're the damage dealer. You are the main damage dealer besides the carry. The carry is, the one that kills the towers. You're the one that needs to go in and do lots of damage in team fights. So your role is very important. Now let's move on to what should you be building on a mid laner, right? What should you be building on a mid laner? Alright, so we're gonna go to my build for Gideon, who's the character I was just playing there. Now, as you can see for Gideon, I have a pretty big going power deck for the most part. Not much has changed here. You start off with the Arch Magnus, that's what it used to be. It's literally the same for both of them now. Arch Magnus and Warlord, I believe, are both the same damage now. Because everything's power now. They'll probably just change that entirely and make it just a prime buff. Just for specific characters give health, other ones give damage, whatever. Normally you're going to want to start with 2 cast tokens and a mana pot. I also have a Chrono something in here. I can't remember what the actual name of it is. It's a Chrono something. And it basically gives you cooldown reduction and mana regen. It's pretty good just to pick up mid game roughly. Chrono Tonic. That's it. It's pretty good to pick up mid game. Not too bad. And then after that, usually you want to go for a ward. Now, why do I say go for a ward? Is because again, you want to control those mid buffs there. There's 2 mid buffs. You know, one on both sides of the lane. You want to control those. Do not let anyone else take those buffs. Don't risk your life to get them either, but don't, you want to make sure you get those as often as you can, as they are pretty helpful in taking your lane. Now, a ward, usually you're going to start with 1/1/1 in it, just a nice cheap card. You can see it's got 1/1/1, nice quick build, finish the ward off, get the little bonus of it, like giving it extra mana or whatever it gives you. And then you're gonna go for a mid laner in particular, because they're mana heavy. You're gonna want to go for mana items. You're either gonna want to go for straight mana or mana regen. Solar's Reactor is probably one of the better mana regen cards, and the other one, I believe, gives you cooldown reduction. It's a pretty solid card. It's not too expensive anymore, and especially with the new card crafting in the game, it shouldn't be too hard to get. Like Flow right here is a very good card. Absolutely extremely good card. Moving on to the other options here. Now that's usually what you want to grab. I also have some actual penetration damage in here with my Shadow Scrolls. Not too bad. Pretty much just, again, you're going to be wanting building mana and power. Mana and power. That is what you want to be building. You usually want to build the mana first and then the power, or the power first with mana regen and then the power. Mana and power. That is what you build on a mid laner. I also have for a situational option that guy right there. It is a item that gives you health. So I have 3 greater health in that in case I'm just seeming too squishy for whatever reason. The carry's murdering me. Late game, you usually want to pick up at least 1 health item. So mana, power, last item, or around the last item, health. That's it. That's all you got to pick up on a mid laner. Pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. It's not too bad. Again, try out some builds on your guys' own. Don't copy this exactly, but I mean, it is a pretty decent build. That build is actually slightly changed, but it was always called Escape Your Fate. Builds on my channel. Anyone that hasn't seen that one. But yeah, guys, that is the role of the mid laner and what you should build on him. Join me next time for the support and carry lane, basically. So I believe it's called safe lane. So the safe lane. That is where your support and carry are going to be. That is where you're going to be defending them at all costs. So, yeah. Let me know what you guys want to see. Recommend some games to me. And as always, I will see you guys